Alright. New weekly is Exfiltration. Okay. Ooh. This is rough. No Medicaid stims are available. Character has much equipment. Ability charges restored only by kills. Okay, that's... Okay.
the Emperor! For the Emperor!
Alright, let's see if we can one-shot this new weekly. Battlefield conditions are there are no medistims on the planet. And we can only restore ability charge by killing enemies, which is gonna be rough. We are allowed to carry twice the amount of equipment though, so that's something. And so I can understand why the sniper brought the perk for ability recharge on headshot kills. It was a good call, all things considered.
Atmospheric conditions are suboptimal to mission deployment and evacuation. This is as close as I can get you to the Longinus camera facility.
Halt and observe.
A gargantuan Xenos digger.
Take heed, Meridian. Trigon target acquisition vectors are unknown. Best to keep moving and stay together. Projecting a sense of tactical dominance may deter it from attacking. For now, stay vigilant.
Here it comes.
Hold formation and advance. Xenos countermeasures successful.
Trigon incoming.
Change position. Maintain formation. Reposition and refocus. Kill confirmed.
Close ranks and hunker down.
We can hold this position. A lift station lies just ahead, Meridian. Considering the Trigon's presence is incidental to our objective, utilize the lift to reroute closer to Metrian's keep.
Understood, Magos. The lift is within our sights. Give us the green. See your weapon malfunction.
Hail, Astartes. I have summoned the transport lift at the request of Magos Gallia. Remain patient. Transport lift inbound.
Optimalist
Text, I
adapter.
have transmitted no authorizations.
Sniper
Perhaps we
rifle.
can disorient the beast if we reposition frequently.
Transport lift status.
Sniper take out the zone throw.
Ceases.
Sniper focus fire zone throw.
Ceases.
Scrutinize every movement, brothers.
This galaxy's not your reality. What's your strategic?
Take the execute now. Take the execute now. Sniper take the execute now. Never mind.
Keep going forward. Fresh magazine.
Ignoel Metrian welcomes you to Longinus Gamma Bioresearch Facility. Please do not disturb the lift. It would be a waste. I have no music to play while you descend. Use the silence to contemplate your futile, brutal existence in service to a desiccated cause.
Magos, is this servo skull malfunctioning?
Meridian, the servo skull is enslaved to an unknown master plan. Irritant signal silenced. Continue to discuss your fate amongst yourselves. It changes nothing.
Place your faith in Magos Gallio, brothers.
A suggestion: abandon Gallio's misguided vendetta against the Magos biologists. Do you
know what Galio and Metrian achieved together in the past? Ask about Project Zeta 6 if you ever speak to him again.
Mere words of a reprogrammed servo skull, nothing more.
Out, you damn ceramite-clad ticks.
Has anyone seen a servo skull exhibit such behavior before? The Magos said to ignore the servo skull.
That is heretical behavior.
Mission update. Trigon has breached Longinus Gamma.
He tears through Earth as if it were paper.
I was worried you had fallen victim to Metrian's mastery of malphonic disruptive frequencies, but now the uncomfortable sensation associated with relief cools my remaining skin. Be warned, Viridian. Metrian cannot hope to stand against you alone, so she will lie and store in hope the Xenos swarm will devour you. Case in point, she has enslaved that servo skull as a crude mouthpiece. But give her word zero credibility for the mission's sake. And your own.
Understood, Magos.
Annex load cache of grenades.
Operation jeopardized.
It summoned legions of Xenos.
Stratis, the facility is well stocked in mining gear. Requisition filter charges to eradicate the tunnels and halt the infestation. Brothers, locate those melter charges.
Brothers, I have a melter charge.
Hive substructures collapsed. Advance towards objective.
Objective down.
New path ahead. Inside the facility, you'll find Metrian cowering in her data enclave.
Galio, old friend of mine. If you missed our binaric discourses, you could have sent communication.
You are more than a redundant
I
system
observe
gridlocked
you
by
still
bureaucracy and blinded
pathetically
by
cling to
flesh
views
face.
of soft tissue. Remember, meat lacks efficiency, whereas metallic alloys stave off corrosion and degradation for far longer.
How far you have fallen, Ignoella, that I must drag you back into the light.
Well, I did my best to heal him. If he couldn't recover any contested HP from that banner, then that's beyond my ability. I can only do so much.
3 meat lackeys seems like
I think I'll devote the rest to myself and the heavy.
think too highly of me.
I mean, to be fair, all that the sniper had to do, like being honest, as soon as I bandaged him, all he had to do was, and I kid you not, cloak.
You do not care.
Metrian shut down power to the
Because the sniper has the ability to restore full contested health when he cloaks.
She hopes the Terrorists will annihilate you, but she underestimates the second company.
Search the area for a power cell.
I beseech you, Galio. Bear witness to the summation of our divine
Power
arithmetic
cells,
from long ago. Remember Project Zeta 6?
As my theorems predicted, your light vector has converged with renegade factors, and Zeta 6 was a waste of computational resources and one perfectly good Crocs. Surrender now, and perhaps leniency can be granted. After the might grows, of course.
You are a redundant functionary. Your Astarte shall die here, alone, in the dark.
can't get to him.
That silenced the tuning. The power cell identified.
Bring power cells to the generators.
That one's active. I need to bring it to a red one. Like the one up there. That's one.
Engaging elite glorious tower.
Locating power cell. The generators require power, brothers.
Load up. Proceed to checkpoint.
Neutralize core for enemy backup.
Inserting rounds.
Light and darkness. How easily flesh parts deceive their perception.
Disrupt her attempts to connect with our facilities network. Mitrin will seize any opportunity to damage crucial data, which would deem this mission a failure. Do not let her connect to the consoles.
Alliance and the shall be severed.
I am copies of copies, backups of backups, and I degrade not. You have already fallen.
First console, brothers.
Active success. The connection is no more.
Return to Mitrin's containment unit. See, Mitrin, the more you thrash, the deeper you set our hooks. These tender thoughts of the Starkey's flesh have accomplished nothing, Galia. My imagination is not already achieving my designs. Silence, Mitrin. Meridian, confirm possession of her quivering mass of computational gray matter.
You failed at both. Unwavering, despite the grip of malady.
Next.
I resemble a foe.
That is irreparable. For the Imperium of Man.
Asset acquired.
Pilot, Meridian is ready for evacuation. Sending updated extraction coordinates to you now, Meridian.
Magos monstrosity may escape. Primary task here.
Ammunition restocked.
Rearm.
Oh, really? Alright. This level of timing, yeah? Oh, can't move. Oh, come on! No way! Killed by netting on the ground. That's pathetic. Come on. Stupid Nero throw.
Surely, I herald our victory.
Inserting rounds. Alien infantry. Now silence the tyranny of violence. Crack grenade in. Throwing anti-armor. Brother, I am close. Hold fast. It is the great feed off field. Turn your pain into their pain. Waste nothing, brothers. Reload.
Whoa, that didn't even restore my energy, really? Oh, okay, I didn't notice that.
Fresh magazine.
Brother, thank you for bearing discipline. We are committed to this course.
Defend some grenades.
Avarax seems determined to keep us. Evacuation point ahead. Changing magazine.
This is not good. It's the final phase of Raw Mortal Wounds. This is pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie.
Ready for next encounter.
Resources acquired.
I cannot land with that burrowing abomination lurking about. Deep scans have penetrated the atmospheric disturbances, and Metrian's Meddling code. Trigon vulnerability data pushed to your displays.
Confirmed. Meridian will eliminate the Trigon.
Xenos bypass on scope.
Target lock on its vulnerabilities. Vital organs losing.
Alien interloper flagged.
Delta detonation materials available.
Charge requisition authorized.
Location.
Collapse their rancid crawlways. Annihilate the entirety of this repugnant swarm.
Purify the infected tunnels with the melter charges. Banner, ready to deploy.
The Trigon assails us.
Oh. Interesting. Come on.
Trigon has high ground advantage. Watch out! Motor skills generate.
Locking belt upon it.
Maintaining focus.
Amplify our valor. Regarding.
Xenos tunnel identified. Acquire a melter charge.
Trigon kill confirmed. I conquered.
Yep, that'll do. All in all, not the most difficult weekly. So yeah, not bad. Very manageable for a lot of people, I'm sure. Not the cleanest mission, but we got through it okay. Sorry about that. It's just just going through some messages. So all in all, I think you saw the mission itself is not overly difficult. Very straightforward. Your standard exfiltration mission. Key points to consider when you're moving with in on the desert portion when you first encounter the Trigon. Try to keep together and dedicate yourself to a route. Either you go into the buildings or you run across and you shortcut through the sand. It doesn't matter either way. You pick a route and you stick to that route. Next, when you are fighting, always try to prioritize taking out Majoris and Extremis before dealing with Minoris, unless Minoris are the only enemies abound. That said, if there are many Minoris and you have the ability to spam gunstrike kills on them, use that as well to your advantage. And the reason being is because it gives you armor shards. Armor shards can keep you alive when bad stuff really hits the fan. Right. As for the build, normally sometimes I would take the lightning shock build, but I think for a while now I've been trying to use the survivability build, where non-finisher gunstrikes restore armor. I just leave it on sometimes. In this particular case, it just gives you a lot of armor in combat, so that way it allows you to take advanced conditioning to reduce contested health decay. This is a bit more friendly for newer players on the squad. So when you're teamed up with random teams that you don't usually pair up with, or people that you just don't know, this is always a safer option than to take focused restoration. And the reason being is because a lot of the time, players who are not as experienced at the game, right, do not fully understand how important armor segments are. Also, they don't have the mechanical ability yet to survive in melee combat and gain back armor shards constantly throughout the battle. So having this on really won't be as much of a benefit to them, right? By comparison, having advanced conditioning, which reduces contested health decay, allows them to constantly fight. Even like when their HP is being drained, at least they're able to try and recover as much as possible with it. So let's go through the perks. First I take Intimidating Aura. It allows you a parry to do damage within a radius. Be careful with this one though, because it can actually kill a target that you would want to execute. It can actually just straight up kill them. Next, Armor of Contempt. When you block a range attacks, it damages enemies within 10 meters. Very good when there's a lot of enemies who shoot ranged attacks, and you can use this to clear out Minoris. Very, very good for that, right? And then Armor Reinforcement. Similar perk that the Assault class has, where non-finishing gunstrikes, in other words, gunstrikes that don't successfully execute the enemy, will still restore an armor segment. Very, very good for survivability. Alternatively, you can go for a more aggressive build, right? By taking Defensive Advantage, right? Where your parry and your block creates a shock field for 5 seconds on a 30-second cooldown, and you can combine it with Shock and Awe, right? Whereby enemies in the shock area will take 25% more damage. This is another alternative you can use. Very, very powerful, right? This is more for survival, and this is more for aggression. Both builds are completely viable, and it just comes down to which one you prefer. And I do take both, so, you know. Next, Purity of Purpose. This banner deals damage to enemies within its area of effect. Basically the same thing as this. In fact, it can stack. If you have both a parry and the banner on, Minoris enemies will die in there. And Majoris enemies will be heavily damaged, and so will Extremists. If you take this and you take these two, right, then not only will enemies that you're fighting be heavily damaged in that field, but by taking this one as well, they're also taking an additional 25% more damage, which is both from this as well as from this. So they do stack, right? So it is a viable option. An alternative, you can also take Rapid Regeneration, where your banner restores it restores armor faster. This is very, very good if you're in the thick of combat and you're fighting, like, say, a Terminus enemy in melee range. This is very powerful. This is another alternative. I prefer to use this when I'm dealing with sometimes when I'm dealing with chaos enemies who like to stay back at range, and then they'll send like their little chaotic Zengors to come and charge me. This thing allows you a standard shield bash to knock them onto the ground, and you can gunstrike spam to get armor back. Next, invigorating icon. I think for the Bulwark, I think if you're playing on absolute and hard stratagems and hard siege mode, also lethal as well, this is one of the most, if not the most powerful Bulwark perk you can ask for. The fact that, you know, it got nerfed and now recharges 50% slower does not change or take away from the fact that it gives all squad members in the immediate vicinity full contested health. It does not take away from that fact. Right? If you want, you can take this one, right? Glory Shield, where they become more tanky and the banner lasts longer. That's another alternative, it's fine. Or you can go for more aggressive build, right? This is something if you like bringing the Thunder Hammer, or you like using the Power Fist, this is pretty decent. For me personally, I still believe that Invigorating Icon is the premier perk to take. And the last one, Rejuvenating Effect, the banner will revive members. I take this out of convenience more so than necessity. It's not a requirement to bring this. It's just something that's very convenient to use, because sometimes you don't want to be rezzing when there's a whole bunch of enemies around. It's better to just plant the banner. And the reason why is because when you plant the banner, it'll give whoever you resurrected, along with you, full contested health. And by taking this, that means that the health drains more slowly. So it gives you more time to recover that HP. Including just getting an execute nearby. That works too. Right, here's another alternative. Right, 15% extra damage on a lot of your milling abilities. Right, it's just a good quality of life perk. This one here, you know, when you're within and allies are within the banner, they deal 20% more damage. I'm not a big fan of this one because part of the player mindset that you will notice when you play on higher difficulties is players are, particularly random players, are usually content with moving out on their own and spreading out across the battlefield, right? And dividing the enemies up and dealing with your small problems in your small little areas, and then you reunite when you're done, in order to clean up whoever's left up, right? Whoever's left over. So I'm not a particularly big fan of this. I'd rather take one of these two. Right? And between the two, I just prefer this one because it's more convenient. For the signature perk, I will always recommend Defensive Mastery. The ability to immediately execute an extremist level enemy, or Majoris, right, once every 90 seconds, instantaneously. The sheer amount of value you get out of that, very difficult to match. When you see a lictor come out of the stealth and immediately attack you, you just parry and then immediately execute them on the spot. The amount of value this thing gives you, unbelievable. The emergency countermeasure shock grenade is also okay, right? You're better off taking that if you're going to take this. If you're going to be using this one, right? Take this, right? Get your armor back every 30 seconds, and then go for a lightning build. This is a pure, dedicated lightning build, right? Very, very powerful, very, very offensive build. Okay. As for the prestige perks, I take auxiliary reload first, right? Because on lethal and absolute, the amount of extreme response you get, ridiculous. There's so many of them. This is very powerful. Next, being able to recover more health with stims is just a useful quality of life, and it helps you survive in combat. Next, held and charge attacks increased by 20%. Useful. It's very, very nice when you're doing, especially if you spec into power rake with the sword, or you like using big, heavy attacks on the block fist in particular, the power fist, particularly the block fist. Next one, but this is the perk that I would recommend you must get as soon as possible. right? Masterful defense. Ability recharge is restored by 1% for every blocked range attack. Get this as soon as you can, right? You cannot get this as your first one, right? But let's say for example, the first one you take is this, right? Immediately take Masterful Defense second. Do not hesitate. Do not wait for it. The reason being is because the ability to get your ability charge back simply by holding up your shield, right, is invaluable. And when you're up against, say, a chaos enemy, an extremist, right? Chaos extremist which has like a big Gatling gun, right? One of the Terminators has a big Gatling gun. This prestige perk will get your banner back in seconds. I kid you not. So do not hesitate on getting this. Get this as soon as you can. That's that's the perk grid for the Bulwark. For the weapons, I am taking the Heroic Heavy Pistol, Retribution's Bequest. As for the perk tree, this is what it looks like, right? Headhunter, Adamantine Grip, Rapid Health, Increased Capacity, Extended Magazine, Death Strike, Great Might, Discipline, Strong Finish, Headhunter, and Gunstrike Reload. The reason why is because you want to get as many bullets as you can in this weapon. It has a very small magazine size and ammo reserve. But you make up for that by having the ability to immediately execute Majoris enemies that are calling for reinforcements simply by headshotting them. You'll save a lot of ammo for yourself and the team that way. Next, my favorite weapon in the entire game is the Powersword. I believe it builds into the power fantasy of what a Space Marine should be, and it feels awesome. You feel like a paladin when you're wielding it. And I love taking the fencing variant because I love being a duelist in the middle of the thick of the fight, right in the middle of combat. As for the grid itself, right, I take Armored Strength. As long as you have armor remaining, at 10% more melee damage. It's very easy to get, especially because we're taking non-finishing gun strikes restore armor. So yeah, you'll have this up all the time. Next, Master of Offense. When you switch sword styles, you do extra damage. Not mandatory. It's fine. It's nothing particular you have to worry about. Perpetual Strength for more melee damage. Always good. Next one, each light attack gives you more damage. This is not really mandatory for you to take, but I take it simply to gain access to this one. Right? When your HP is below 30%, a power will restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown 10 seconds. Basically, if your HP drops to a third, right, doing a simple power heavy attack and then just waiting for like half a second will allow you to do a power swipe. That power swipe will give you an armor segment back. Very, very useful. This one, kill streak, again, not important. Don't have to worry about it so much. You really want to head down here. While performing a light combo, you take less range damage, just so you can get access to this end, where your power rake does 50% more damage. This is very, very good if you like using light, very fast attacks against individual big enemies. This is very good. Next, Extremist Slayer. Very, very important. Do not hesitate to take this. Take it right away. Majoris Slayer. Make sure you get this as well. And of course, Terminus Slayer. So you do as much melee damage as possible to the 3 major types of enemies. Don't worry about Minoris Slayer because you'll kill them in one hit anyway. And then for the last one, you can choose whether you want to take the combo extenders. Do you want to take a little extra damage? Me, I prefer taking extra contested health restore when in power stats. That's just for me. Yep. So that's the build for my Bulwark. Thank you very much for watching. It is always a pleasure to have you here, and I hope you enjoy the content. This week wasn't particularly a difficult mission, so overall, pretty standard stuff. I hope that you were able to gain some good knowledge from it. I hope your day goes well, and remember, wherever you are,
For the Emperor!